A few days ago, I shared a Take 5 message about the three young Hebrew men, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and how they were thrown into the furnace, and how the fires did not burn them, but only burned that which would bind them. There's another aspect to that story, and that's this. They refused to bow down to the king's golden idol. Must have been an amazing temptation to bow down when everybody else in the kingdom was doing so. Really what the king was trying to do was to impose his unthinking obedience upon them. That as soon as that music began to play, everybody had to bow down and worship the idol. You know, the first few times they would do it, they would say, hang on, what's that music? Oh yeah, remember the king said. But after a while, they wouldn't even stop to think. They would instantly hurl themselves to the floor in unthinking obedience to the king's command. That's what tyrants demand of us. It's called brainwashing. It's been a tool of totalitarian regimes for many, many years. Well, those three young men refused to bow down. And because they refused to bow down, they were threatened, and they still wouldn't bow down. And then they were thrown into the furnace. And they wouldn't even bow down in death in the furnace, but they were sustained and they walked about inside, accompanied by the presence of God. And then when they came out, the king of Babylon was absolutely amazed, and he promoted them. He put them in a place of authority. And the way that things worked in Babylon was like this, that when you were put in a position of authority like that, when you walked down the street, everybody else had to bow down to you. And so Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, because they refused to bow down to the king's golden idol, now others had to bow down to them. There's actually some other characters in this story. The word says there were certain, it's in Daniel chapter 3, the word said there were certain astrologers. These were practitioners of the dark arts. These were people who obviously hated the children of Israel. And that was why they informed on Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. They wanted to see the people of God punished and killed. And now, because Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego refused to bow down and ended up being promoted into such a place of authority, now when they came down the street, those astrologers had to bow down to them. And there's a very simple spiritual principle here, and it's this. There are times when you feel like you feel so pressurized to bow down to all those pressures, to all the temptations, to all the things that are coming against you. But if you refuse to bow down to your enemy, then your enemy will have to bow down to you instead. You know, I've had times in my life when I've experienced this, and I've remembered times when the temptation was so great. It would have been so easy to cut corners. It would be so easy to have done things that would have compromised my integrity. But God stepped in. God helped me. And instead my problems bowed down to me. Remember when Janice and I first began to go out together? She had a dog. And as we were preparing for marriage, I was never an animal lover. I mean, now I am, but then I wasn't. And I didn't want a dog. I wanted her. I wanted her as my wife. I didn't want her dog as my dog. But it was pretty well an ultimatum that if I married her, the dog had to come in as part of the bargain. It was love me, love my dog. And so that dog became part of our household. I had to walk that dog, everything else. But you know, here's the funny thing. When we first got married, that dog was not my dog. He thought he was Janice's dog. He wouldn't do what he was told. I remember one day I said, I'm going to sort this out. And I got that dog and I said, sit. So I put my hand on the back of his neck and I began to push down. And the dog, he set his paws like a tripod and refused to bow to me. He refused to sit. He was just so stubborn. But my weight was much greater than his, and eventually he sat. I won't pretend he was always obedient after that, but we had established to some extent who was in charge. There's times in my life when I've identified with that dog. There's times in my life when it's felt like all the powers in hell were trying to force me to bow down and give in to the stuff that was oppressing me. And I want to tell you, those times I've discovered how God can step in and what a wonderful thing He can do for us. And so I want to encourage you now, if you're feeling hard pressed today, if you're feeling tempted, if you're just feeling like everything's trying to press you down, refuse to bow. Your enemies will have to bow to you. This has been a 5-minute Take 5 inspirational message from from Solid Rock Drogheda. Join us again tomorrow.